Hello everyone, I hope that you're all having a beautiful day. I'm excited today because we're going to be going over my next PSA submission on the channel. I'm submitting 22 cards, and in this video I'm going to be covering each card that I'm grading, giving my predictions for it, and then showing you all the last sold price for the card ungraded, the last sold price for it in a PSA 9, and then the last sold price in a PSA 10. Also, for the cards that I'm submitting for my own personal collection, I'm going to be discussing why I'm grading each card, because I get frequently asked, hey, should I grade this card or should I not grade this card? And a lot of times I can't answer that specific question for you, but I can show you my own logic in what cards I choose to grade for myself, and hopefully that can help you make a decision for yourself. So, hope you enjoy the content, and if you do, we'd greatly appreciate it if you'd smash that like button, comment down below, and let me know what your favorite card from the submission is, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the Manatee Nation. Let's go! Alright, so first up, we've got 10 cards from Ruse Pokemon, and these are cards that I've pulled on the channel from my case openings that Ruse Pokemon has picked up for his own personal collection, and the ones that I thought were particularly clean, or the ones that he really likes, he's decided to grade. So starting things off with the Buggy SP OP06 Wings of the Captain. This is one of the two case hit SPs that I got from the case that I open up on the channel, and I do think it looks really clean in terms of the centering. And a lot of the cards in the case unfortunately had rough edges, but fortunately this was some of the cleanest edges in the entire case. So I do think this card is going to start things off with a 10. Next up, we've got the Mr. 2 Bon Clay, transformed as Nami from Extra Booster 1 Memorial Collection. And I did pull 2 of these in my case, and again, I think the centering looks pretty solid on this copy, and the edges look good as well, so I'm predicting that this one is going to get a 10. Following it up, though, for Mr. 2, we've got a second Mr. 2. So this one was a little bit more off, was a little off center, left to right, compared to the other Mr. 2. So I think because of that, and the edges are a little just rougher on the top there. Actually, you know what? The centering, no, it is just a little bit, but I think it is 40 to 60. It's a little bit thicker on the left side here. A little rough on the edge here on the top, so because of that, this Mr. 2 could end up getting a 9, but we're gonna see. Next up, we've got, also from the Extra Booster, Viola. And again, this card, you can see it here on the front even, the edge is a little rough on this one, so that may end up getting it a 9, but I do think the centering looks pretty solid on it, so it's on the edge. I'm really curious to see, speaking of which, how these edges get graded, because this one could be a 9, it could be a 10. I'm hoping for the 10, and if this one gets a 10, I think some of the other ones are going to get a 10, but potentially because of the edge, the top edge specifically, it could maybe get a 9. Next up, we've got Shirahoshi, also from Extra Booster 1 Memorial Collection. In this one, centering top to bottom, maybe a little thick on the bottom. Left to right looks okay, but maybe just a smidge thick on the bottom compared to the top, and a little bit rough on the edge here. So because of that, this one could get a 9, but otherwise, One Piece cards are so clean that I think this one could potentially get a 10 as well. So we're really going to see on the Shirahoshi and the Viola. Both of those, I would say, are on the edge. I'm hoping that they get the 10s, but they could end up being 9s. Now we've got Kazuki Hiyori from the land of Wano, and I really like that this artwork has Zoro in the background. Really beautiful card, and different styles of texturing on the card as well. This is a really nice looking card. I do think this one, centering wise, looks pretty clean all around, and the edge does look better than the last 2 cards that we showed. I do think that this Kazuki Hiyori is going to get a 10. And following it up, we've got another Kazuki Hiyori. So the last one was from Extra Booster 1. This one is from OP06, Wings of the Captain. I really like the pattern on this one as well. I think it's like a Tomio. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, but really cool there. And the texturing blends in kind of with the fireworks in the background. So very nice card, very beautiful as well. A little rough on the edge, maybe a little thick on the right side. So 50-50 between a 9 and a 10, similar to the Viola and the Shirahoshi, hoping that it gets a 10, but this one could end up being a 9. Ooh, another OP06 for Ruse Pokemon, and another beautiful looking card here. The Vinsmoke Areju, and this deck is a really good deck in the TCG. Now there's a little spot of whitening on the, let me see if I can, it's hard to catch. Maybe if you can see it there, if I tilt the angle a little bit, there's a little spot of whitening on the card. Otherwise, and maybe a little 40-60 on the centering. Maybe it's a little thick on the right and a spot of whitening on the top left. This one, I'm feeling more confidently than the other two that it's probably going to be a 9, but we shall see. Really nice looking card either way. Ooh, and another one. This one's from OP05, Awakening of a New Era. And this card I actually pulled from, I picked up a bunch of blisters when I went on a work trip to Arkansas, Forest City, Arkansas, and there was a Walmart there with OP05 blisters. This is the one alternate art that I pulled from the blisters, but a very nice one to pull. So I do think this card looks pretty clean, actually really clean. I'm thinking this one's going to be a 10 for Ruse. And last but not least, this is a card that I've been holding on to Ruse for a long time. This is how long I've been holding on to this grading pile. The Little Sadi from OP02 Paramount War. Pulled this one from my case of Paramount War, and Ruse Pokemon snagged it. I do think it looks clean, so I think this one's going to get a 10 to round things off for Ruse Pokemon. I'm curious, too. Let me know, just in particular, of Ruse Pokemon's cards that he's submitting, which is your favorite if you hear this. I'm curious to hear in the comments. All right, next up, we're going to do some of my cards. So next up, continuing with the waifu trend, I had to sneak in the Treasure Rare Nami. So I did pull this card from my OP06. It's not guaranteed in the case of OP06, so I am pretty happy about this card. I know it's a little polarizing. Some people call it the GTA Nami, but personally, when I got it in person, it really grew on me because it kind of reminds me of, let me grab it here, Kabooms from sports cards. Panini sports cards. It kind of reminds me of like a one-piece Kaboom. So honestly, I kind of want to see more of these. If you like these, and even if you don't, let me know how you feel in the comments. But if you do like this style and you want to see another character in this one, who would you like to see? I'd love to see Katakuri snacking on some donuts. That would be my preferred. But this one, similar to some of the other cards that I got in my OP06 case, a little rough on the edge. I do think the centering is okay. Maybe a little bit thick on the right side compared to the left. Top to bottom looks okay. And actually, the more I look at it, I do think that centering, no, it's a little thick, but I think 40-60, and I'm hoping the edges are clean enough. I'd really like to get a 10 in this one. That would be awesome. And following it up with Nami, we've got another member of the Straw Hat crew, and that's going to be a theme. We got the Monkey D. Luffy. This is the second alternate art leader that I pulled from the Ultra Brothers, or the Ultra Deck 3 Brothers. Really, really cool set of alternate arts. Thick on the top here, I'll say. Thick on the top, so this could potentially end up getting a 9. I don't see any whitening or anything, so the only thing, and the edges look okay, so the only thing is that it's a little thick on the top here, I'll say. So this could end up getting a 9. Luffy could end up getting hit with kind of the Charizard tax, if you will, but I wouldn't be too upset if this card got a 9 and ended up being a sacrifice for this next card to get a 10. The Monkey D. Luffy Store Championship winner, and I got this card from playing in the Pokeballers first Store Championship for the One Piece card game. Really, really like this card, and of all the cards that I'm personally submitting, this is the one that I would like the most to get a 10 from the cards from my personal collection that I'm submitting. So really, really hope this one can. Maybe it's a little thick on the top, but I do think it's within range. Really, really, really awesome card. Love the artwork on this one, and really hoping it can get the 10. Otherwise, it's super clean. No whitening anywhere. Awesome. Surface looked nice as well. And now I'm a big fan of the villains. As you can see the Katakuri in the background here. I really like the villains in One Piece. So next up, one of my favorite characters, Don Quixote do Flamingo from Romance Dawn. And this card, actually, I did pull from my case of Romance Dawn. And it's a little thick on the right side here. I'll say compared to the left, a little thick on the right. But I do remember comparing this to my other. I did pull another alternate art. Rare Don Quixote do Flamingo, and I remember this one being the cleaner of the two, so we'll see. This one could end up getting a 9 just based on the centering. It maybe is outside of the 40-60 range, and maybe 70-30, or maybe even, yeah, I think it's probably just outside of the range, 65-35. Ooh, following it up with another Shikibukai, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. I'll just say 7 Warlords of the Sea, Crocodile. Big fan of the Crocodile character, and this one looks really clean. Maybe 40-60 centering on over here, but I think within range. I don't see any whitening. Surface looks awesome, and this card I actually got gifted to me by Max VMAX Plays. So this was a card that I didn't pull myself. Max VMAX Plays pulled this card on their channel and gifted it to me in some awesome mail that they sent. So shout out to Max VMAX Plays and Mama VMAX. Let's go. If you know, you know. Let's go. And I told y'all I like the villains, and I shouted out the Katakuri. I actually legitimately forgot that I put this card in the submission. The Katakuri Secret Rare. All right, following it up after the Luffy, this is the second most card that I'm submitting that I would really love to get a 10. It's a little off here, a little off center, left to right. A little thicker on the left side than the right side, but I compared this to, I have 4 Katakuri Secret Rare alternate arts that I do use for my deck, and I decided to sacrifice the cleanest one, and unfortunately the other ones did have a little bit of whitening because I do play them in my deck, so I didn't feel comfortable submitting the other ones, but I'm taking the risk on this one, and honestly, if it gets a 9, I might end up just cracking it out of the slab and putting it back into the deck. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm hoping this one gets the 10, so I could display it in the background. That would be awesome. But it is a little bit off center, thick on the left side compared to the right. And following it up, we've got another secret rare, and this one isn't one of my cards. Now we're jumping over. This is a card that I'm submitting for Mythic Monty, and he picked this one up also for my case of OPO2 from Paramount War. The Kuzan secret rare. Really love this artwork. The foiling on it is so sick. I love how the ice on him is textured. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful card. I do think this one looks clean. I pulled 2 of these. It's a little thicker on the top than the bottom, but I think it's going to be within range. I'm hoping this one gets a 10. I think this one is going to get a 10. All the edges and everything look clean. No whitening. So hoping this one can snag a 10. I got a secret rare Yamato alternate art and a PSA 10 for Mythic Monty out of my Romance Dawn case. Hopefully we can follow it up with the Kuzan out of the Paramount War. Next is a card for TCG Battles, Slick Rick, my Nakama. So he picked up 4 cards from my extra booster of Memorial Collection. And of the 4 cards, this was the cleanest, but also the one that he liked the most. A second Kazuki Hiyori is going into this submission. He really likes the Zoro in the background for this one. So this one, a little rough on the edge, a little thick left to right on the centering, favoring the left side here. So I did tell the Nakama that I do think this one's probably going to get a 9, especially because the other Hiyori that we're submitting, I think may end up getting a 10, and this one may end up getting a 9, but I hope that we can get 10s on both of these. That would be awesome. And now we're finishing things off with the last 4 cards, sorry. The Elite 4, if you will. Our last 4 cards are from my collection, and switching it up a little bit, we got the Rayquaza V alternate art from Evolving Skies. And this card actually was gifted to me by Wild Bill, the absolute freaking madman for my birthday. So shout out to Wild Bill. He pulled this card and he freaking gifted it to me. Absolute insanity. I think it's maybe a little off center, top to bottom, and maybe a little shifted, but otherwise it looks so clean, especially for, I'm hoping this one gets a 10. Otherwise, especially on the front, maybe a little bit thick on the right side. So maybe it gets a 9, but I'm hoping that this one gets a 10. Ooh, following it up right after the Dragon Boy, we got a Fire Lizard Dragon Boy, whatever you want to call him. I know he's not a Dragon type, but Charizard EX Special Illustration Rare. I pulled, I think I pulled 6 of these from Pokemon 151, which is crazy. And I gave away 4 of them. But of the 2 that I kept, I've got 1 in the binder for the binder collection. And I was going to sell another, the other one, but honestly, I thought it would be fun. Let's grade some Charizards. I do think this one looks cleaner than the other one that I pulled. It would be awesome if we could snag a PSA 10 in the Special Illustration Rare Charizard EX. I think it is a candidate. I'm really looking close. Maybe the tiniest, you can't even see it. You can't even see it. The tiny little, maybe there's a little white speck on the bottom right-hand corner there. But it's so small that I might even just be playing tricks on myself. I'm hoping this one gets a 10. That would be awesome. But I know PSA will look for, any grading company will look for any excuse they can to give a Charizard not a 10. So hopefully this one can get a 10. But if it doesn't, we've got another Special Illustration Rare Charizard. This one from Obsidian Flames. I opened up a case on the channel, and we pulled 2 in the case, which was super, super sick. This was the cleaner of the 2. The back centering looks good, but the front centering, it may be a little skinny on the bottom here. And the corners look a little weird, honestly. There's no whitening or anything on them, but they look just like a little not super well cut, maybe not like completely rounded. So maybe they ding me on the corners not being as rounded as they could, but it's no like damage or anything. So, and the centering on the back looks good. I mean, the text here is well centered on the bottom line. So I don't know, maybe it is good. I think all these Charizards that I'm submitting are candidates. Otherwise, I wouldn't submit them, but I'm not surprised if they get hit with the Charizard tax and they get bumped down to a 9. And yes, I did say all these Charizards because we're finishing things off. Last card with another Special Illustration Rare Charizard. Let's go. The shiny and the regular back to back. It would be awesome if we could get 10s in these sequentially. That would be sick. That would be super, super cool. Pulled this card from Paldean Fates. The bottom maybe is a little thicker than the top here. Maybe the bottom is a little thicker. And I remember there was like the tiniest, again, top right corner here. Tiniest little white speck. But I don't know. They'll probably use that as a reason to give it a 9, because if it's a 10, it really shouldn't have any whitening at all. But I'm telling you, I gotta get super, super close to this thing to see it, and I can't even pick it up on the camera. So, awesome card. If we could finish things off with 2 PSA 10 Charizards back to back, that would be a super, super sick way to close out the submission. But personally, the card that I'm most excited about submitting is, at least for myself, is the Store Championship Luffy. So would love a 10 in that. And I'm curious to hear from you all. What card was your favorite in the submission? Which card did you like the most? If you could grade a card from your own personal collection also too, I'd love to hear what that would be. But most importantly, everyone, I hope that you all have a beautiful rest of your day. Peace out, everyone. Let's go!